children.
Yeah,
Gotta go.
Fratelloni's.
How you doing, Joe?
Hi, GLers.
This is fun.
Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores brings you Garage Logic Podcast number 1047.
Man.
The last day of March for 2023. It's been a fairly unpleasant March, hasn't it?
Yes.
For example, on this day in 1986, it was 82 degrees. And on this day in 1969, it was 1 below. And on this day in 1985, damn near 15 inches of snow.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I have ice outs.
When you do on this day, I always think the show's over.
Good.
White Bear Lake went out on this day in 1938 and 1968.
Wow.
And I looked, would Minnetonka have been reasonably close? And in 1968, Minnetonka went out tomorrow, April 1st. But in 1938, they had to wait till April 9th.
No fooling.
Isn't that something?
That is fascinating.
I love ice outs. You can just take those ice outs and put them where the sun don't shine if you don't
Underneath
like
the
them.
ice. That's
Can't
what
have
I'm
ice
saying.
out if the sun
You can
don't
hit the
shine,
saw.
Joe.
And now, from the mayor's office
More ice
above the
outs.
boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Heidt in the newsroom, and of course, the Rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Souchere.
We're going to try an experiment today.
Set.
Well, we're going to try to do a show without mentioning all of the things that we invariably mention every day.
All right. A fun show.
Thank you for listening, GLers. We will talk to you
See
Monday.
you later.
Except news.
Except news.
gets
News
to
is
do
sacrosanct.
Thank you. I can't say that.
Gary F. wants to know, why does Elmer Fudd always sound like Norm Coleman?
Because that's all they paid for.
And
I'll get you, Gary.
break glass smoke luckies, possibly?
What do you got?
Earthquake swarm. I have not heard from the GL geologist. Perhaps she'll weigh in. Stacy. Earthquake swarm hits U.S. National Park. 60 quakes in 12 hours at Yellowstone.
Stacy?
60 quakes in 12 hours. University of Utah seismograph stations detected an earthquake swarm between Yellowstone National Park at the northern area of Yellowstone Lake. Well, you know, that's just a big caldera. She blew up a couple of times throughout the millennia, and if you just factor in the mathematical odds, she's about due to go again. And if she does, break glass smoke lucky.
Should we be alarmed, or we can't do anything about it? What the
Well,
hell?
I think the earthquakes have been detected there throughout time, and they don't necessarily forecast a volcanic eruption, but they're unnerving. This is from Stuart, sent me this. They're unnerving because if she erupts,
She goes, she gone.
if it's a major eruption,
Yeah.
there's, rocks are going to land in your yard. We're not far enough away. And we could have one of those nuclear winters where there's no sky and no sun, and the crops will die, and we'll all die and breathe shards of glass that erupt when volcanoes
paint a
erupt.
great
Other
picture.
than that, it would not be that
Be like
unpleasant.
the road.
Yeah, it would be like the road. It would create the road situation. And the road, Cormac McCarthy's book, that novel placed the characters trying to stay alive after a cataclysmic event.
Which we never...
We just don't know what the event was.
Right.
And it could have been the eruption of Yellowstone. It could have been a nuclear blast. We don't know.
Was that the last book I read? No, Child 44 was the last book I read.
Well, you're really pounding through them, aren't you?
I'm about to pick up that
I have a
Governor
new
Ventura
Author's
book.
Corner coming next week.
Oh, nice.
I've been reading so many. I'm just starting to list them now and rate them. I'm not even reviewing them because I'm just voraciously devouring books. Voraciously.
For the first time in my life, I'm really struggling with one, but I'm forcing myself to read
Get
it.
through it.
Confederates in the Attic.
Oh, I just got a copy of it because I thought you told me
Nonfiction?
to.
Yeah, of course. I don't read. Yeah, it's nonfiction. Try it, John. At least I'll have somebody to talk. I mean, I'm not even 100 pages in, John. That's how.
struggling.
Yeah, it's good writing. It's just the topic is so upsetting.
I give up at that point if I'm not 100 pages.
I
in.
give it at least 50 pages.
Yeah, about 50 to 100.
The guy's a great writer, and it's just the topic is, ugh. They got to let it go down there. Let it go, folks. Come on.
I told you guys I bought Cormac McCarthy's newest book called The Passenger.
Yeah.
And, shame on me. It's only my fault. Shame on me. I'm just not going to do it. Life's too short. It's crazy.
How do you know you don't like it already?
I gave it 75 pages, and I just thought I just can't keep going. And Ann Tyler, I told you this, French Braid, her newest. And I love Ann Tyler. I love her work, and I thought, nope, life's too short. I can't.
What do you
it.
do when you get mad at the author for his or her style of writing?
I don't.
You don't?
I knew perfectly well what I was getting into. I know the style.
Sometimes with new authors, it's like, okay, I don't need 3 pages of background. Whatever your personal beef is, get over with it. Get back to the story. Let's go.
But the story in The Passenger is terribly convoluted and maybe above my pay grade. Maybe I'm just too dumb.
You know what I'm going to go back
Remember how
to?
dumb I used to be?
Yeah.
Speaking of you being dumb, I'm going to go back to Gravity's Rainbow. I'm going to push through that thing.
I don't think I ever read it.
Thomas Pynchon.
Yeah. Do you want to know more about railroad derailments?
Of course we do.
Yes.
Hail the Flashlight King.
Hail you.
I found that acceptable.
That was really good, guys.
On your March 30 podcast yesterday, you asked the question, this is from Dan, why where does he say don't use my name? Is that anywhere in here? No, it's Dan Schultz in Buckley, Washington. The state of Washington. You asked the question why there are so many train derailments all of a sudden. 2 of the dummies blurted out that it's because of the lack of track maintenance.
Hi, I'm Kenny.
And old tracks. As a person who's been involved with the railroad and doing work for them for almost 20 years, I got the same question the other day from a friend, so I've already got your answer for you. There is no sudden increase in the number of derailments. It's just the fact that there was a high-profile one in Ohio, so it's all of a sudden a news story when one occurs. Reporting isn't what it used to be, so now every time someone gets a whiff of a train derailment, they turn it into an event. It's easy to Google, but the Federal Railroad Administration keeps these statistics, and according to them, as reported on Time.com, train derailments are quite common in the U.S. The Department of Transportation's Federal Railroad Administration has reported an average of 1,475 train derailments per year.
Wow.
Between 2005 and 2021.
That seems high.
That's a big number.
Just so Kenny and Rook don't have to do the math, I did it, and it comes out to an average of over 4 a day.
Ooh.
In addition, track issues generally only cause half of derailments. Granted, if it were the federal government having to maintain the tracks like they do the roads, then that would be a logical suspicion.
100 a day.
But the railroads themselves care for and maintain the tracks, and it is in their best interest to keep them in good working order. Every derailment costs them big money, not just in track repair, but contractors with specialized equipment, spill cleanup, and the fact that the track is out of service so other freight can't be moved. It doesn't take much for a minor derailment to cost 6 figures and jump quickly into 7 figures if it's a mainline track. I've seen where the first thing they do is come in and just push the derailed cars off to the side and get the track fixed so they can keep the trains moving and then deal with the cleanup later. All the best.
Leaving the cars there, send a message, huh?
Yeah, well, not to send a message, but
Careful on this turn.
Dan out in Buckley, Washington. Thank you.
We have GLers in every aspect of life, don't we? What a great email.
We really do.
What a great reach.
That's kind of like the old shark attack bit when we had one shark attack and suddenly they covered all of them. Remember back 20 years ago? And
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, they were everywhere in the news.
Well, and we've had periods in the last few years of intense shark attack reporting. And what did I do, Rook? What did I liken shark attack reporting to?
That was it was somebody going crazy.
Prior to the attack in New York on September 11th, 2001, the news was full of shark attacks and Hesh speaking in tongues.
Yeah.
And that California legislator who there was a story of about a missing intern or something. In other words, the news had whatever. I can't remember.
Oh, that what was that guy's name?
Yeah, whatever. I went down an interesting rabbit hole when I got here today.
Gary Condit.
Gary Condit, you're right.
Wow.
What a memory.
What did I have for lunch yesterday?
I
No
don't
idea.
know.
We lost Ann Heche last year.
Yeah, car crash.
Yeah.
I went down a bit of a rabbit hole today, based on a song I heard driving in by Maria Issa. Her actual full name is Maria Issa Perez Vega. And you idiots should know who that is.
Susan Vega. Suzanne Vega.
No.
Oh.
She's a state legislator. She represents the west side of
we
St.
talked
Paul.
about it.
Yeah.
Oh, just
we
recently.
talked about
Yes.
it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I was listening to your local publicly funded FM station.
Got it.
Publicly funded. I pay for it out of my taxes.
Right.
I think they do. I don't like their playlist. They're always playing women with weak voices.
Hey, play something with drums. Let's
Yeah.
turn the guitar up. Let's go here. I want to rock.
But I listened. They played a song by Maria Issa, and I enjoyed it. And it's interesting. She's a typical Mysterian and Euphorian, but at least she works. She's got her own recording studio.
Okay.
She's gaining national and international attention. She represents District 65B. That includes St. Paul. She's got downtown St. Paul, West St. Paul, and parts of Dakota and Ramsey County. She is a Puerto Rican by heritage, but she's born and raised in Minnesota.
Okay.
And her music is, I would call it aerobic hip hop.
Okay.
But there's a Puerto Rican name for it, Kawa or something, and
Cowabunga?
Yeah.
No,
That's
but
after.
first Cowabunga, and she was preceded by Carlos Mariani, who had made a name for himself in the legislature. Now she's holding the reins, and I just find it interesting that she has this. Her side gig is the legislature. And for most Mysterians, it's the opposite.
It's the other way around.
It's the opposite. But her side gig is the legislature, and she has got quite this musical career going. She's got a band, and she's got albums out, and she's recording. And she has a daughter. She lives in St. Paul. She went to where did she go? She went to Columbia College in Chicago, earning a degree in cultural studies. Well, that you can't flunk that, so I'm not going. I'm not sure I
No
place a
feather in
great
the
deal
cap
of stake.
there.
But I'm willing to find her a really interesting woman. I hope good things happen to her. And I just applaud the fact that she actually has a gig.
Yeah.
That she works.
You're right. It's the other way around for every other DFL
That
legislator.
John Thompson, for God's sake, what the hell was that? But here's a gal, and she was born in '87. So what? She's young. What's that? 30?
36.
36. And good luck to you, young lady. I think it's you guys. Can we play her music?
Not without her permission.
Well, I'm giving you permission.
I know, but you're not her.
Well, it's not bad.
You don't have the pronoun
I mean,
her.
it's not my cup of tea. I'm not an aerobic hip hop fan, but I gotta think.
I'd
that,
like to see you with some leg warmers on.
I gotta
doing the
think in
circles.
that genre, she's considered pretty talented. And that's all I have to say on that. But I found myself listening to her on YouTube and reading about her, and her election seems to have come and gone without great fanfare for what she's doing. You know, it's pretty unique to have in the. Who can you think of in the legislature that has a unique a unique job.
John Marty.
Nope. Nope. He's just a careerist.
Yes, he is.
I get the feeling too that she would allow music in her life to win out over legislation. I get the
She's
feeling
going to be launched. She might just bail on the.
Well, I get the feeling she doesn't necessarily care if she becomes a careerist. But it's another point in her favor as a mysterian.
Yeah.
So there you have it. Listen to her, see what you think. I'm in no position to rate that genre of music. I know nothing about it, and I don't know if it's any good or not. Except she has a good voice, and there you have it.
I will listen to it.
Yeah.
After the show.
Well, you know what? It's right there.
John and I are doing our own show while you're babbling
Well,
on.
what did I tell you at the start of the show?
Be
I
quiet.
don't know what.
No, we're trying to talk about
Get in
things
here.
we don't normally talk about.
Yeah.
First of all,
No, I
nothing
thought that
irritates
was-
me more than musicians weighing in on politics. And now you're showing love to someone who's combined the two of them. So that bugs me.
I'm not with Kenny on that.
No,
one.
I know
think
you
musicians
aren't.
Should mix politics. with
Yeah, I know.
music.
I just
I grew
watched,
up with that.
I just watched that Jim Croce thing this morning, and that kind of bugged me.
Well,
Boy, he was pretty.
I'm not
Jim?
talking about Jim Croce.
He was pretty controversial, wasn't he?
Jim
Old
Croce's
Jim.
kid is coming to town to sing his songs.
He's an interesting musician.
Can I not
himself.
drift off into Jim Croce? Could I finish a
Sure.
point on
Go ahead, Leroy
Maria
Brown.
Issa Perez Vega? What did you say?
I said, go ahead, Leroy Brown.
Wait, it is Jim Croce. Maybe it's not Jim Croce. Who sang that song about the taxi and pay the fare?
Harry
Chapin. That's who. They're all the same to me. John Chapin,
What
Croce,
the hell?
I like that.
God,
That-
Edmund
Flying in my
Fitzgerald, that
taxi.
guy, the whole deal.
I loved Harry Chapin. I got
F.
to meet
Scott
him
Fitzgerald.
actually, chat with him. It was wonderful.
Where was I? Oh,
Did I say Larry Fitzgerald?
no, you said
Yes.
Edward or something. I gotta think she's the only entertainer to have achieved a legislative seat.
I don't know. Of
I mean,
any
there's
other.
probably some polka king in there somewhere who played
Sonny
the
Are
accordion.
you,
Bono.
are you just talking in Minnesota?
Minnesota.
Sonny
okay,
Bono.
because there's
Talking Minnesota,
plenty of-
Kenny.
Cooter.
John Hall, the leader of Orleans, was
Ronald
actually
Reagan.
a U.S.
I
representative
said
for a while.
Minnesota.
We got to have somebody that does a magic trick or something like that. Maybe a
That
magician.
doesn't count.
No, the old thumb trick. Whoa.
I hear Walter Mondale used to throw quite the hootenanny, the after-hours hootenanny.
Yeah.
Well, his dear late daughter did marry into the suburbs, didn't she?
That's
true,
right,
yeah.
Chad. No, not Chad. Chan.
Chan Poling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's about all the material I have. If we're not
That's
going
it,
to
huh?
talk about
Have a
the
good
things-
weekend, folks.
Yeah, talk about the things we normally talk about. But before I go, I want to tell you that we're not leaving yet. I want to tell you that the Easter hams from Grunhofer's Old Fashioned Meats are double smoked. They are the biggest hit at Easter in the entire country. They set records for selling Easter hams, and you'll know why when you taste one. And you can call and order your Easter ham and pick it up at one of two Grunhofer locations on Highway 61 in Hugo, and then a store that opened recently in Forest Lake on Highway 97 east of 35. This is Grunhofer's Old Fashions Meat. Call 651-426-2800. You do not want... This is what will make the Easter repast a success. A double smoked ham from Grunhofer's. All Grunhofer's meats are Minnesota meats. All Grunhofer's beef is Minnesota grown. Beef for Minnesota farmers. 140 flavors of brats. And do what we've always done. You're picking up the ham, you load up on the other stuff. Because, you eat the ham at what, 1 p.m. or something?
Yep,
By
brunch.
about 5, you're going to stand outside, fire up the grill, and cook brats.
Yeah.
Town Ball Meatloaf, Rookie Burger. Meatloaf?
Meatloaf?
Let's go with meatloaf. Town Ball Meatloaf, Rookie Burgers.
Really good stuffed chicken. I was looking at the menu
Everything.
yesterday. It was really
it's the
good.
meat emporium.
Yeah.
It always has been. It's Grunhofer's Old Fashioned Meats in Forest Lake and in Hugo. But call 651-426-2800. Get your mitts on a double smoked Easter ham.
Here's a man who spends hours in hardware stores, sifting through the nuts and bolts of life. Joe Souchere.
Tears for Fears on the GL podcast. Moon Motorsports celebrating 52 years in Monticello, family owned and operated, a multi-line dealer bringing us the very best in outdoor recreational fun. And I don't know who's running the joint up there. Yeah, it's spring, and you know what that means, warmer weather and motorcycles. Moon just went and discounted nearly all of their KTM dirt and trail models. There's a ton of KTM models. I mean, they have like 200s and 220s and 50s, and it's crazy. But and KTMs are damn good bikes. So you really will start this season off right if you get yourself a KTM dirt bike. Lowest prices available right now at Moon. If you're into the ATVs, all of our favorite Can-Am Outlanders, they're all in stock, a wide selection, all sizes, all models. Your whole family can be pleased. That's all at Moon Motorsports. Your Polaris, Skidoo, Honda, Yamaha, Can-Am, and dirt and trail adventure motorcycle brand leaders right there in Monticello for 52 years and on the web, moonmotorsports.com.
Thank you.
Joe, you made a mistake on today's podcast, meaning yesterday. When discussing equity versus equality, Kenny brought up a lottery analogy, and you suggested that equity would be like giving someone a lottery ticket who had not bought one. It would be more analogous to the left's policies to say that it would be like winning, like waiting until a winner is declared, then reallocating the winnings to others deemed ideologically worthy, regardless of whether a person bought a ticket. I must agree with him.
Yep.
The left wants endless funding for government spending according to its ideology without realizing that government spending can only exist in proportion to state productivity, something the left cares little about. I believe the fervent left will learn that it is a minority, even in this state, through the recently discussed bill for paid family leave, when the productive small business Democrats can no longer be productive and turn against the left for that. The concept has been explained by French economist Frédéric Bastiat in The State. The state has two hands, one for receiving and the other for giving, a rough hand and a smooth one. The activity of the second hand is necessarily subordinate to the activity of the first. Strictly speaking, the state can take and not give back. This can be seen and can be explained by the porous, absorbing nature of its hands, which has always retained part and sometimes all of what it touches. But that which is never seen, which will never be seen, and which cannot even be imagined, is that the state can return more to the people than it has taken from them. Therefore, it is ridiculous for us to appear before the state in the humble attitude of beggars. It is utterly impossible for it to confer a specific benefit upon some of the individuals who make up the community without inflicting a greater injury upon the community as a whole. Perhaps Bastiat's most famous quote describes the equity dilemma best. The state is that fiction by which everybody can live at the expense of everyone else. Philip sent me that. Thank you. The state is that fiction by which everybody can live at the expense of everybody else. It was I was going to talk about stuff we always talk about. I'm going to.
Ooh.
It was in the Pioneer Press today that the legislature is dreaming up a raft of new taxes.
Yeah.
Do you have that story, John?
I do have it in the news, yep.
To counter what they believe might be lost to them through income tax reductions. And so they're dreaming up new taxes that'll affect your well, I'll wait for John. It'll affect your driver's license and
A lot of stuff.
Fees.
Affect a lot of stuff.
Affect a lot of stuff. So in the hands of, well, here again, I start talking about everything I
right up to the edge, right to
always
the
talk
edge,
about,
sir.
and I don't want to do that. We're trying. I'm trying. I'm getting no help, but I'm trying desperately to talk about things we normally don't talk about. For example, this is right from the Ford Motor Company's own website. Ford Motor Company has filed a patent for multiple drones that could be used to jumpstart future Ford vehicles, Ford Authority has learned. It's a site called Ford Authority. The patent was filed April 12, 2017, published on March 28, 2023. Ford has filed its share of drone-related patents in recent months, including one outlining the idea for a jump-starting system that would use drones to charge Ford electric vehicles, not to mention another for external jump-start battery terminal hookups. Now this new Ford patent builds upon these previous filings by introducing an idea for multiple drones that could be used to jumpstart Ford vehicles with dead batteries in the future. With drones being used for all sorts of things these days, including last-mile delivery services, search and rescue operations, and many other activities, this new patent aims to deploy the unarmed aircraft to help stranded motorists who may find themselves stuck somewhere with a dead battery. While a simple jump cable in another vehicle can rectify this problem, if one is stranded in the middle of nowhere, that isn't always possible. That's precisely where this patent comes into play. Ford vehicles would be able to transmit a jump start request when in need, which would be received by one or more drones. Those drones would also... I'm seeing the witches flying around the castle in The Wizard of Oz. Those drones would also receive the vehicle's location, navigate there, open the hood, establish a connection with the vehicle's battery, and give it a boost so the motorist can be on their way. While not necessarily a totally new concept, well, it sure as hell is to me. Yeah. While not necessarily a totally new concept, this idea does have some merit, particularly for those who live or are traveling in more rural areas where other vehicles aren't close. Of course, one could also carry a portable jump pack, but in some cases, those aren't quite able to get the job done, as this patent points out. We'll have more on this and all Ford patents soon, so be sure and subscribe to Ford Authority for the latest Ford patent news, Ford business news, and continuous Ford news coverage.
You can stop. You can stop there. You can stop.
This is the Jetsons, man. This is weird. Yeah. You're out in the middle of North Dakota, and you have to file a jump request with the drone fleet.
You know what I would say there?
Show up.
I would say, ruh-roh.
Isn't that something? Does anyone have any thoughts about that?
I would rather just the drone pick me up and
I don't
fly me to my
run
destination.
Me through that again. If your battery
read the whole thing
is dead, if your battery is dead, they're sending out a drone that
can somehow even open the hood.
And where's the drone
hood
coming?
On an electric car.
Where's it coming from?
From the drone store.
Who's running it? What's the gas mileage?
Is it like AAA?
And what if the drone breaks down?
Listen, you morons. All I did is read you the patent. I don't know where they come from.
Come on.
Well,
they come from Detroit.
Maybe you should give this a little thought.
It's from the Midwest Drone Central Agency. They just fly one out. Or if you're on the West Coast, it's the West Coast.
West Coast Central Drone Agency.
Oh, a drone air base.
Yeah, it's a drone air base.
Yeah, there you go.
To me, that's just one more reason to not have an electric car, because I ain't calling no drone to come and pick me up.
At what point, do you own the airspace over your house?
No, I don't believe so,
Could you
although I would shoot down a drone.
Yeah, that's my question. Can a guy shoot a drone down?
Probably not, but I don't blame you if you do.
I've been at some public events where drones have been flying around videotaping people. That makes me a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I like my privacy.
Well, it's just weird.
How can the drone do all of that manipulation?
That's what I'm saying.
Well, there's a guy running it. He's got a little thing
There's
around it.
not a guy that shows up with the drone.
Yeah, but it's got to have arms and stuff to open up.
That's
no,
true.
He's got
Back at drone headquarters,
he's
the
got
guy's
a wand,
seeing all this on a video.
Yeah, and he's running it. He's also flying it.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's got little levers and stuff to pull. And
but...
Do you think the drone says anything when it gets there?
Oh, I would hope the drone would have a speaker on it. It would be so fun. Hey, what's up, buddy?
How you doing?
You need some help?
What are you doing this weekend?
None of your business.
What are your plans?
Well, if I don't get out of here, I won't have a weekend.
How about this weather we're having,
Yeah,
huh?
she's
Hotter
a
than
cold one,
Hades. Oh.
And then accent changes wherever you're at.
Didn't Ford already patent or invent the car that can report on itself that the payments are overdue? I just read that last week.
Yes.
Ford can turn a car in on itself. Well, that's really taking a lot of courage if you're a customer. You're buying the car knowing full well that it can report you for tardy payments.
Well, it could repossess itself.
It could that's exactly what it does. It repossesses
It drives itself to the bank or to the dealership?
No, it takes it to the Midwestern drone facility.
Got it. Oh, yeah. For safekeeping in the warehouse.
And the people there all have uniforms on, like in Dr. No, kind of those white jumpsuits with a lightning bolt on.
My reference is Willy Wonka.
Well, I know yours is, but...
We're getting to the point, Such, where Big Brother is watching us so closely and controlling our lives so much that you're going to be driving one of those British crap cans full time. It's the only way you'll have any freedom.
You know what I love about those? There's more technology in the visor of my daily driver than there is in the entirety of an MGB.
Yeah.
More technician, I'm not lying.
Yeah.
More technology in the visor than there is in an entire MGB. And give me the MGB. Nobody knows where you are. Nobody can follow you.
Yep.
The car isn't reporting anything to anybody. It leaves its own mark so you can find your way back.
Technology,
It's just an amazing, and there's nothing on a Triumph or an MGB that would report you to the authorities.
Well, unless you have your phone on you, then they know where you're at all times.
Well, that's true. That's true. But you'll never need to call a drone for a jump. Well, you would, but you wouldn't, because that would.
You call some good old boy like me who's got cables and a tow strap and a chainsaw.
Don't start the cable thing again.
And a rifle or two.
Rook, we did a remote at a guy's house somewhere out in Bloomington. He gave us gifts.
Paul Ryan.
Paul Ryan.
Paul Ryan.
Mm-hmm. I use that thing to this day.
Oh, what's it called? The Cobra?
Yeah.
I lost the charging mechanism
for it. It's a little jump pack.
Oh, it's a jump box.
What
I used
here?
mine every day darn near, and then it broke, so I had to go get a new one.
Mine still works. It's the size of 3 packs of cigarettes. Would that be enough juice to charge an electric vehicle? Could that get an electric vehicle back on the road?
I don't know.
There it is. John's holding it up.
I think not. I used it to jump a real car once.
Yes.
I did use it to jump a real car.
Same.
Yep.
And it worked. It worked.
Bring your charging mechanism in so I can charge. I lost my charger.
The charging mechanism is
Your
what?
Plug.
Oh. Well, why? So you can take it home and plug yours in?
Well, I'll bring it in.
No, I understand, but
You'll
then
never
you're going to have to
see it
do it
again.
again 3 weeks later.
Yeah,
How
you'll
often
never
do I
see it
use it?
again.
Hey, don't help me.
Why don't you go on
me out.
Why don't you go on the Cobra site? I'm sure there is one, and just order a new charging cord.
That's way too much effort.
No,
you bring it in for me is better.
Even I could do that.
You bring it in is a lot easier.
I'll be glad to bring it in for you, but I'm just saying you need it again 3 weeks later.
Well,
and then after Rook loses yours, Joe, you'll have to go to the website and order a new
Sorry, I lost.
charger.
You're going to have to go to the Cobra website and order it online.
What about this one, Such? I got the roommate to shut up and got her off my back. Little life hack here. She wouldn't shut up about the slow leak on the tire. My God.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Yeah.
So instead of fixing it, I bought her one of those little air compressors you plug into the cigarette lighter.
Yeah.
Never heard another word.
Good. That's the way to handle it.
Yeah.
That's the way to handle it.
I would like to point out you may not shoot a drone down over your property.
Well,
it's
the hell
against
you
the
can't.
law.
Let's find out.
Even if the drone is trespassing, it carries serious risk of harm to shoot it down. A person who shoots down a drone could face severe criminal charges, reckless endangerment, and be liable for the cost of replacing the damaged drone to its owner.
One day I noticed a bunch of people at the curb peering at my roof. Mm-hmm. And I, to the point where I wondered, what in God's name are they up to?
You needing the roof?
And I finally said, what's up? And they said, we have a plane on your roof, a model plane.
Oh, sure.
That they had flown from a great distance away. Mm-hmm. But it landed accidentally on my roof.
Okay.
So they got a ladder. I got them a ladder and the whole deal. And they went up and got their plane.
It's a cool story.
Yeah.
That's a, yeah.
You know what you can do?
If there's an eagle flying above your no, if there's a drone flying above your house, you just get yourself an eagle.
Yeah.
They'll
Remember that
take them
eagle
out. Yeah.
on Crystal Lake? Matthew was flying a drone
Yep.
for whatever that place is, a spacecrafting, and the eagle took down the drone, and it's sitting in Crystal Lake right now. The drone is
Yeah, that's fine.
under a bunch of muck.
That's good. You
Yeah.
can't arrest an eagle,
No,
right?
no.
Say you
Boy,
don't
they
want the
taste
government.
good, though, don't
Yeah,
they?
Oh, yeah, they do.
The younger ones, a little more tender.
Say, for your estate planning services, would you please consider Eckberg Lammers, one of the most noted law firms in all of the metro and western Wisconsin? They've been preparing estate plans for people for more than 70 years. You know what that is, don't you? It keeps you out of the courts. When you leave this vale of tears, you leave behind for your family explicit orders so everything runs smooth. It keeps you out of court, reduces taxes, and controls your wishes. It must be done. I don't care how old you are. You just need to have this, and then you start fading.
Yep.
Let's just fading. Let's say,
Yep.
and you remind the kids, just get that thing. I got a big arrow pointed towards it. You just go down and get that piece of document, and you're going to be all set. These are great service, great people. It's a great law firm. Again, you don't want the government to handle your stuff. Avoid court. Minimize taxes. Control your wishes. You got some property problems in the family, they'll take care of that. You snowbirds have some tax questions, they take care of that. They take care of everything so that when you leave, everything is done smoothly for your family. Don't make assumptions about this. Start the conversation with Eckberg Lammers. Make an appointment with Eckberg Lammers at 651-439-2878 or visit Eckberg Lammers at eckberglammers.com.
Okay, interesting story here. Reavers, who normally would be here, and he would be telling you about 30 bales. Well, he's not here, so I'm going to tell you about 30 bales for him. Right now, the push is on. Yes, Easter brunch is just around the corner. You need to make a reservation because Easter brunch there is filling up fast. So go to their website, 30bales.com. And you can check out their menu. You can make reservations. It's a great place to have a wonderful meal. So go ahead and get on right now. Don't wait until the last minute or until they're full. Check it all out. And, of course, I'm looking at the menu here, and I've been there many times, and I love the pulled pork tacos. Fantastic. The Bale Burger, classic cheeseburger, and it's done right. And don't forget about the Reuben. Lunch, breakfast, dinner, whatever the case may be, check out 30 Bales. And again, this is your final warning from me anyway. Easter brunch is around the corner, but you need to make a reservation at 30 Bales. So do that today. Go online to 30bales.com and let them know that Reavers and the Rookie sent you.
This guy wears many hats, just not indoors. Joe Souchere.
Who you GLers are keeping the office staff busy at professionalturf.com. Thank you very much. We've got wind and snow and rain and just hell from the sky coming tonight. But by Sunday, it's going to be sunny and 50. And by next weekend, you're going to be looking at your lawn, and that's where Professional Turf plays in. If you want the best lawn on the block, click on it right now, professionalturf.com. Get set up with a free estimate and analysis at Professional Turf. Here's what's going to happen, okay? A guy's going to come out. First of all, they don't do it over the phone like the rest of these clowns. They come out, they walk your lawn, they figure out, oh, that's a good spot, that's a bad spot, that's a horrible spot. And after the first treatment, all of the broadleaf, the crabgrass, broadleaf, dandelion, all of that gone, and you'll have a thick, healthy, luxurious lawn with your own customized slow-release fertilizer and weed control plan, environmentally safe and guaranteed for superior results from the last flake of snow in the spring till the first freeze up in the fall. It usually takes 2 to 3 treatments per year. And they come out whenever, not only do they come out on schedule, but if you see something you don't like in between visits, give them a call. They've got that toot sweet policy. They'll be there toot sweet. They'll take care of it, and everything will be awesome. A beautiful, healthy lawn, it's just a click away. ProfessionalTurf.com.
Here's John Heidt.
Thank you, Joe. This update is brought to you by ProfessionalTurf.com. And just as a disclaimer, let me tell the people listening, we agreed not to talk about stuff we've talked about before, but that's not for the news segment because, well, then we'd have to do, birthdays, that kind of stuff. So we're going to do the news.
Copy that.
Former President Trump facing more than 30 counts related to business fraud in an indictment from a Manhattan grand jury, according to two sources familiar with the case. Earlier yesterday, a spokesperson for Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg said the office had contacted Trump's attorney to coordinate his surrender. Trump will likely appear in court early next week, probably Tuesday, according to his defense attorney. The case stems from the alleged payoff of porn star Stormy Daniels, who said she had sex with Trump. Trump's former lawyer/fixer, Michael Cohen, says she was paid off with campaign funds and that information was falsified to show that he had been sentenced already to 3 years in prison for his part in that. What the charges are specifically will not be known until the former president is arraigned and the grand jury's indictment is unsealed. Trump still also faces several other high-stakes cases, including probes into his efforts to subvert the 2020 election, handling of presidential records, and business fraud, launching the Republican frontrunner into uncharted territory.
If I understand this correctly, then the gist of the supposed crime is that he used campaign funds to pay her off.
Correct, and
that's
then
the crime.
Covered it up by saying it's it was used for this and that.
He had that sap Cohen pay, and then he reimbursed Cohen.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, and then had
Classy.
Cohen fill out documents that said, he's paying me for something else. So
Cohen's the only guy who suffered throughout this so far.
Right.
so far, Minneapolis City Council has approved a legal settlement with the Minnesota Department of Human Rights. During a meeting this morning, councilors voted in favor of the requirement, which binds the city and the police department to change nearly every aspect of policing in the city of Minneapolis. That agreement comes from a multi-year state investigation that found a pattern and practice of race discrimination by the police department. Minneapolis city leaders and the state agreed to negotiate terms of reforms within the police department last summer. Pioneer Press reporting, you talked about this earlier, Joe, the legislature plans to cut income and property taxes this year, but the savings they produce will be offset, at least in part, by increases in taxes and fees to fund transportation services. Those increases include a 75-cent fee for packages delivered to your door, a 0.75% increase in sales taxes in the 7-county metro area to pay for bus and rail transit services, higher charges for driver's licenses, and extended license tab fees. House Transportation Committee Chair Frank Hornstein, a DFLer, unveiled his version in a hearing yesterday. I love this quote. Hornstein acknowledged it's hard for people to understand why state policymakers want to increase taxes and fees when there's an $18 billion budget surplus. But he says that surplus money is already set aside for purposes other than roads, bridges, and transit systems. Yes, Joe?
Oh, I'm saying anything.
Oh, okay. All right.
The news doesn't lie.
A man is in the hospital after St. Paul responders at the scene of a crash discovered the driver had a possible gunshot wound to the head, according to St. Paul Police Sergeant Mike Ernster. About 6:30 last night, a man drove an SUV into a parked car near the intersection of Ford Parkway and Snelling Avenue. The man driving the SUV was unresponsive, Ernster said, and it appeared he'd been shot in the head. Medics took the man, who has not yet been identified, to Regents Hospital with a life-threatening injury. Police are still investigating what led up to the crash. Ernster said it's unclear how the apparent gunshot injury happened. We now know more of President Biden's itinerary for his visit here on Monday, with the White House releasing additional details this morning. The president will visit Cummins Power Generation Facility in Fridley, part of the Biden administration's Investing in America tour. According to the White House, the tour plans to showcase the president's efforts to create a clean energy economy, build better infrastructure, and bring back supply chains.
Is that a big day for you, Kenny, when a president comes to town? Is that a big day for traffic reporters?
No, it's actually easy because
I see.
They shut off all the cameras, and depending on your ethics and your integrity,
Yeah.
You either report the route or you do not.
Yeah.
I do not report the route.
Well, would you even know the route?
I do because they block off the cameras on the route he's going to take.
I see.
And should I admit this on the air?
Sure.
For some reason, when they block out the cameras, I can still get them. But I never
I don't think you
publish
should
them.
have said that on the
I
air.
never.
You think for additional security, they would want all those cameras on?
No, they don't want people to see it for some reason.
To know the route, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know.
Like you said. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's one group of people I'm not going to mess with. The Secret Service. Nah. No.
Man accused of attacking Minnesota's 2nd District Rep. Angie Craig at her apartment building in Washington has been indicted now on a federal charge. Court documents say Kendrick Khalil Hamlin attacked Craig while she was getting coffee in the lobby of the building the morning of February 9th. Craig said she ended up using the coffee as a self-defense to escape. In addition to the assault charge involving Craig, Hamlin also has been charged with 2 counts of assaulting a police officer. Craig said she saw Hamlin, unknown to her at the time, pacing around in the lobby. He was said not to be wearing any shoes, according to the complaint. Craig went back into the elevator to go back to her apartment when Hamlin stuck his hand out to hold it open and stepped inside. He told the Congresswoman he needed to use a bathroom and was going to come up to her apartment to do so, but Craig refused. Said the man then became agitated, wouldn't let Craig off the elevator. He blocked the entryway and punched Craig in the face. Hamlin also grabbed her collarbone during the incident. Craig threw the cup of hot coffee over her shoulder at Hamlin, who then released her and left the building after she began to yell for help. Police arrested Hamlin later that same day near the apartment building. Craig suffered bruises and bleeding from her lip in the assault. Hamlin's next court appearance is scheduled for April 5th. Russian authorities said they have detained an American journalist for the Wall Street Journal, and they're accusing him of espionage. The journalist is Evan Gershkovich, a correspondent based in Moscow for the Wall Street Journal. He's believed to be the first American reporter to be held as an accused spy in Russia since the collapse of the Soviet Union. The Russian Federal Security Service, or FSB, said in a statement that Gershkovich is suspected of spying in the interests of the American government. He's been detained in Yekaterinburg, a city about 900 miles east of Moscow. The detention is an ominous sign for the rights of foreign journalists based in Russia. Wall Street Journal strongly rejecting the accusations and said it would seek his immediate release. President Biden this morning speaking, also saying the Soviet Union should release the reporter. 3 days ago, the U.S. told its citizens to leave Russia immediately due to the war in Ukraine and the risk of arbitrary arrest or harassment by Russian law enforcement agencies. Many U.S. citizens have left, but most reporters have stuck around.
That guy's in for a bad time.
I think you're probably correct. Yes. Why don't we take a quick break here and come back with some more news after that?
GLers podcast listeners, I really want to tell you about a fun fundraising opportunity that you could take part in. If you like to shoot clays, well, the 7th annual Dave Weiss Memorial Sporting Clay Shoot is going to be on April 29th, the Garage Logic birthday, the 30th birthday. And this, of course, is sponsored by Minnesota Masonic Charities, and they're online at minnesotamasonic.charities.org. It's a wonderful event. You can find out all sorts of information. I'm going to give you a telephone number. If you're up to that, and you should be, you should just go down there and check it out. Here's the phone number, 612-790-5561. 612-790-5561. And it is a good deal. It supports the Masonic Children's Hospital. And, of course, Minnesota Masonic Charities are really into that. It's presented by Clay's Camps for Kids to benefit Shriners Healthcare Camps and the U of M Masonic Children's Hospital. April 29th, registration at 10:30. More information, I don't have enough time. 612-790-5561. Hopefully we'll see you out there on the 29th.
Truth, justice, and the suture.
Well, I think now if I followed the conversation there, I'm supposed to read some more news now.
I think so.
Hi, John.
So let's continue with the news. Police and state troopers in Tennessee and Kentucky handled protesters at both state capitals yesterday. In Tennessee, it was a protest by gun control activists, mostly students, who tried to push their way into the legislature but never made it in thanks to law enforcement. Instead, they chanted from inside the atrium of the Capitol. In Kentucky, it was trans activists trying to protest a Republican-backed bill to ban transgender procedures for children. Several of those protesters physically removed by troopers. Pope Francis expected to be discharged tomorrow from the Rome hospital where he's recovering from bronchitis. His recovery proceeding in what doctors are calling a normal way. Even had pizza for dinner last night. And he will be in St. Peter's Square for Palm Sunday Mass, according to the Vatican. Vatican spokesman Matteo Bruni gave the update in a written statement today. In a subsequent statement, he said that Francis was due to be in the square for the Mass, which marks the start of Holy Week and ushers in a series of solemn public ceremonies that, of course, culminate on Easter. This year, that is April 9th. Speaking of the Vatican,
You know
yesterday,
what he got?
Huh?
He got bronchitis. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Well, I'm surprised they didn't say he had COVID.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Vatican, yesterday they responded to indigenous demands and formally repudiated what's called the doctrine of discovery, the theories backed by 15th century papal bulls that legitimize the colonial era seizure of native lands and form the basis of some property laws today. A Vatican statement said the papal bulls or decrees did not adequately reflect the equal dignity and rights of indigenous people and have never been considered expressions of Catholic faith. The statement from the Vatican's Development and Education offices marked a historic recognition of the Vatican's complicity in colonial-era abuses committed by European powers.
Decrees were called bulls.
Papal bulls, yes.
That's a weird word for that, isn't
It's very strange.
Yeah, that is. I don't like it.
it? I kind of like it.
Former Olympic and Paralympic runner.
Wonder if
Oscar
that's where we get the
Pistorius.
term bull bleep.
No, I think that actually comes from the animal.
Oh,
From the bulls.
Yeah.
The balls.
Former Olympic and Paralympic runner Oscar Pistorius denied parole Friday. He'll have to stay in prison at least another 16 months after it was decided he had not served what's called the minimum detention period required to be released after his murder conviction in the 2013 killing of his girlfriend, Reva Steenkamp. You might remember this story back in 2013. Steenkamp, a model law student, was shot in Pistorius' bathroom. He had told the court he believed Steenkamp was an intruder when he shot her several times.
I don't believe it.
No. The folks at, what do you think of this? Rookie or food guy? The folks at Cup Noodles launched a new product yesterday. They are the folks that give us ramen noodles.
Okay.
Well, yesterday unveiled breakfast ramen. The noodles blend the flavors of pancakes, maple syrup, sausage, and eggs in a noodle cup that is served in the company's familiar packaging and is ready to eat in 4 minutes.
How did this make the news?
Chicken and beef are their two staples, and they do that properly. I'm not so sure a breakfast.
That sounds awful.
You're right.
I don't like
I'm
noodles.
rejecting it. I would
don't
just
do
eat them
noodles.
plain. The ramen noodles are good.
Sounds like throw up to me.
I don't
It
like
sounds
noodles.
awful. You don't like noodles at all?
There's no point to them.
You don't like any kind of noodles? You don't like
I'm not a
spaghetti?
noodle guy. I like thin
Pasta?
spaghetti noodles.
Angel hair?
Yeah.
You like lasagna? You like
I
Oh,
like
my
it,
God.
but, nothing to write home about.
you like egg noodles and chicken
No, I don't
noodle
like
soup?
noodles. No, I'm telling you, I don't like noodles.
We like movies about Roman
I
gladiators,
don't like
Joey.
the concept.
You're so weird with food, Joe.
There
and
is-
only in the nicest way.
Right.
There isn't a woman on the planet who doesn't know that she makes the best lasagna ever.
It's true.
Lasagna is
Well,
that's
that
laborious.
happens to be true in my house.
Well, I think it's pretty true in my house.
Yeah.
Well, and
I don't
mine
know.
too.
I don't
The
know.
layers,
about you?
it's laborious. It's hard to make. It's not easy.
We don't need the rundown. We're just
Oh,
talking
you can
about
take noodles and you can put, sausage,
Wildlife.
ground beef, Italian.
Wildlife officials in Oklahoma shared photos of a massive 67-pound invasive bighead carp reeled in from the Grand Lake area. Did you see these pictures?
No.
The thing was gigantic. Two guys were holding it across the
What a
bodies.
big carp.
Gigantic.
Wow.
The Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation said a group with High Water Guide Service was fishing in the Grand Lake system when members reeled in the big male fish. The fish was caught after the department asked for local fishing guides to help capture invasive fish in the area.
What state was this, John?
Oklahoma.
For some reason, in my mind's eye, I'm seeing the entire town of Fulda gathered around the back of a pickup truck right now.
The department said, shout out to High Water Guide Service for reeling in this massive 67-pound bighead carp. They've gotten us a few now, and we simply can't appreciate it enough. The ODWC said the fish and others reeled in from the Grand Lake system will be used for research into the local fish population. An auction company is expecting to get $10,000 to $15,000 for an unusual piece of music history, the MTV Gong from the 1980s. Bonham said the MTV Gong, which is available for bidding until 3 o'clock this afternoon, was one of two made for the cable network. The one in the auction was used by MTV at events and on the air throughout that decade. The listing says it was famously used by Tina Turner when she appeared as a guest presenter for a show where she talked about her favorite music videos in 1986. She kicked off the show by turning upside down on the gong stand to bang the gong with her feet. The steel-hammered gong, which bears the MTV logo, does not include the stand, according to the auction
There's
listing.
no more video TV shows, are there?
Not on MTV.
MTV is just pretty much reality TV shows now.
Yeah, exactly.
It was quite revolutionary when it began.
There
It
you
was.
go.
It
There
was.
you go. Yep.
But video killed the radio star.
Yeah.
Here's something you don't normally think
My
about.
favorite was
You know
the replacement suit.
Killed the radio.
They made a couple of videos where the only thing in the video was a speaker.
Yeah, I saw those. Yeah.
Something you don't normally think about. I suppose it could be a problem anywhere. Maine is facing a severe housing shortage at this time, but what you might not know is they're also running out of space underground. Portland's Evergreen Cemetery is the largest in the state. 65,000 people are there, but they're running out of burial spots, and they only have about 40 lots left.
Well, there's plenty of room. Don't worry about it.
Well, that's the same story in other cemeteries in the city, though, too. They're all at capacity, Joe.
Well, out in the woods.
Well,
You
can't
gotta
we
park them somewhere.
can't we tear out some of them, get rid of some of them?
Yeah.
I mean, come
Should be a
on.
time limit. Let's go.
Yeah, yeah. You get 50 years and you're out of here.
Yeah, that's right.
Mike Ciamaga is director of cemeteries in Portland. Before coming there, he worked at a similar job in Brooklyn and New York. He says they face the same issue there that he's facing in Maine.
What if those guys are like supers? You know, the cemetery club. They just keep moving around to
going
get
on.
better gigs.
I'm over at Evergreen right
I'm
now.
going to go to Maine. I got a hell of an offer.
Ultimately, they plan to try and get an expansion for the cemetery, but that has to be approved by several boards.
I would love working at a cemetery. Peaceful, except for my mower, on your own all day. That'd just be fantastic.
Okay.
Good job.
That'd be interesting.
Good job.
Speaking of cemeteries, in Poland, a grief-stricken son is facing jail time. After it was discovered he dug up his late mom's body and set her down on the sofa and left her there.
Okay, Ed Gein, you weirdo.
Police found the woman's mummified remains inside the home of the man named only as Marian L. in Radlin, Poland, after his estranged brother-in-law raised concerns about his mental health. A search of the 76-year-old's home found the remains of Mom propped up on a sofa on a pile of newspapers.
He
that
missed
dated
Mom,
from
did he?
Well, wait a minute now. The logistics of digging up a grave, I assume there was no vault involved here.
Well, he got Mom back.
You pop the
think
coffin
so,
in the vault and, fill it up.
The woman had passed away and was buried more than 13 years ago,
Time
according to
out, cartoon
prosecutors.
bubble.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, go ahead.
Describe the scene. Describe the scene of him digging up Mom. What utensil does he have?
Got the bad shovel.
No, it's the shovel with the short
spade,
handle.
The spade.
No. It's just one of those really crummy square shovels.
Square shovel.
Yeah, and he's kind of in ragged clothing.
Yep,
And he's nervously always looking around to
See if
he's-
somebody's.
That's
A
right.
lot of muttering going on.
And it took him hours.
It did, so he had to bring refreshments.
Well, he brought a bag lunch. He brought a bag lunch.
And describe the thermos that's sitting over there.
Kind of a gingham checked.
Right here. Show him the thermos. It's this thermos
I've
right
actually got a new one.
there. Oh, no.
My My World War II era one
Okay.
is in the other house.
Got it.
I do have one quote in this story from the district prosecutor's office, and I want to say it only because I want Rook to tell me. I know his Polish background.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say this name, Rook. Are you ready?
I am writing her down right now.
I'm the only member of this cast who's actually been to Poland. I've been in Poland.
Well, aren't you lucky?
I can see this
I'm
happening.
so
Shamash,
jealous.
Baz the Dubje.
It's Joanna Smorczewska.
Sporochekia.
Smorszewska?
Schwarzmischmarsch.
Marshevska.
Marshash.
The W
Yes.
becomes an F.
It's a
How,
yes.
how long had she been interred?
13 years.
She had been in,
So he's
since
down there.
2010.
I'm seeing bones flying out of the hole.
Yeah.
Because
Well, I think he dug her up a long time ago because it says the newspapers date back to 2009. She was buried in January of 2010, so it sounds to me like he went right away and
so
grabbed
she was still kind of ripe,
Kind
if
of
you
pliable
will.
still by the time he got her.
Oh, boy.
He could bend her into a sitting position.
My people
Yeah,
are
it's
not
just-
helping the stereotype here in this guy.
sitting on the couch, you know.
But I mean, that's a clothespin on your nose time,
How
isn't
did he
it?
lug her home? Wheelbarrow, maybe?
A bad wagon. Or a wheelbarrow. Or a wheelbarrow.
Or a really bad
Maybe
wagon.
he had a little European car. He could just throw
My
in the
mom
back.
thinks that Weekend at Bernie's is the funniest movie ever made. She laughs so hard that she cries.
That explains a lot.
I've never seen Weekend at Bernie's, I confess.
Neither have I. I know the premise.
Yeah, and I know the actor that played Bernie. It was Vic Hitler on Hill Street Blues.
Okay.
Hitler?
Vic Hitler, he was a comedian. That was the joke on Hill Street Blues. He was named Vic Hitler, so he wasn't really a big hit at the...
Anyway, what else you got there, John?
That's all I got. That was the last story.
Very
which-
good, and
that's-
I really appreciate it. And we'll return in just a moment.
Is that sincere?
Not really.
As far as you know.
You'll learn more here by accident than elsewhere by design. Here's Joe Souchere.
You can help your engine run better and last longer with Seafoam motor treatment. Seafoam cleans the harmful gunk and gum and varnish from the entire fuel system. It's safe, it's easy to use on all kinds of cars, trucks, machinery, cylinders. Just pour it in your fuel tank. Let it do all the work for you. Pick up a can anywhere that automotive products are sold, auto parts stores, big retailers, hardware, small retailers, farm stores, you name it. It's all over this great big world. A local company, a global reach, and a wonderful product in a world of bad gas. Seafoam. Suchi boy, I'm worried that Robert Downey Jr. is back on the devil's dandruff.
Yeah, he's making quite a statement there. He wants to get rid of his car collection to save the earth. Somebody's got to get to him and say it really won't make that much difference.
He's signed up and he's doing a show on one of these Disney networks, and he's turning it into a show. And not only is he giving away these cars, he's turning them into electric cars, Such.
Yeah. Well, Neil Young's trying to do the same thing with a Lincoln Continental.
A 1965 Corvette.
Oh, no.
He's already got a few electric cars, an Audi e-tron GT Concept.
Oh, no.
A good thing he had an old Camaro from the 60s rebuilt and restored, and he gave it away to Chris Evans. I hope that Chris Evans is smart enough not to do anything like that. An Audi R8. How about, can you see this? Tear the engine out of a custom Boss 302 Mustang,
No.
which in itself is a pile of junk. Boss Mustang is a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy's got a beautiful one. He's going to take the engine out of it. Have you ever heard of a Fisker Karma?
Yes.
Yeah, that one. A 2009 Audi R8, an Acura NSX, a concept car, another Audi. He really loves the Audis. A Porsche 993. How much does that car weigh? A couple 100 pounds, light car. He's going to weigh that thing down with a big battery. An R8, another one, a convertible, a Ferrari California T. Are you really going to do that to a Ferrari?
Well, I don't know much about him, but I now think really less of him.
He's got a bunch of Mercedes. He's got an S Series. He's got an SL convertible, Bentley Continental, another Bentley Continental. What is this old Mercedes-Benz Pagoda? It looks like it was made in the early 70s. Just a little thing.
No, they have that roof style was called Pagoda. It was probably a 230 or 280 SL.
Yeah, this article doesn't give years or engines. They really should be ashamed of themselves. A lot of Audis. As far as I'm concerned, he can do whatever he wants with the Audis. But I think I was most offended by the Porsche and that Mustang Boss. That was just that car makes me sweat. Makes me want to take my clothes off.
Whoa.
I've been watching too many of these reruns of the Rockford Files. I gotta have about a 74 Firebird.
You know, that car wasn't as basic as they made it look. They did a lot of tricks to that car so Jim could drive it like it should be driven.
Yeah, it was a fine handling car.
That Firebird, that was the car of the people then, especially that model, that base model. But yeah.
He could drive, man. He did those, what do you call those things when you back up and then turn around?
Oh, I call them Rockfords.
Rockfords,
Yeah.
How do you do one? I want to try one.
I call them the S words.
You got to take your traction control off, and then you floor it in reverse, push in the clutch, grab the handbrake, swing it around, put it into gear, take the handbrake off, and you're on your way.
Okay.
But he not only did he...
You can't do it with an Can you do it with an automatic?
I have with a pickup truck.
He has, but it was by accident.
Because that Firebird he drives is an automatic.
Wet pavement or gravel helps.
Yeah.
But Rockford, not only did he have a racing team, he ended up being a driver, too. Mm-hmm. He's a hell of a driver.
Well, he was also a hell of a private detective who served time in Quentin.
Yeah, that whole trench coat thing.
Last night, they had so much... remember when we had Stephen Cannell on?
Yes, one more thing.
Yeah.
Remember we had
That's
Stephen
Columbo.
Cannell?
Yeah.
And, and he knew damn well I wanted to ask him about Rockford and Angel. And he said, look, let's promote the book, and then you can ask me all about it. And
The Late.
Yeah. They had a lot of fun with that Angel Martin character.
Oh, he was just a perfect foil. He was a perfect comic relief.
During he had to fake die and have a ceremony for him because it was part of one of Rockford's cons.
Yeah.
But of course, Angel couldn't resist, so he showed up at the church to listen to what people might say about him. And the cleric said it tried to make everything that Angel did sound good, and he said he left the army after high consultation with some of the nation's highest colonels and majors. Well, he got kicked out of the army. I can't.
He was making it. He was twisting it.
Only because they come to us all the way.
Oh, I thought you were doing ice outs.
I did ice outs at the beginning.
Okay.
Only because they come to us all the way from Marloth Park in Mpumalanga, South Africa, from the traveling Lymans at Worldwide Waftage. It was on this day.
Well, this is March 31st, Joe.
1810. Newspaper editor James Goodhue was born in Hebron, New Hampshire. In 1849, he established the territory's first newspaper, the Minnesota Pioneer, which promoted the territory both within its borders and beyond. Goodhue died in 1852, but in 1858, Jane Grey Swisshelm used his press after hers was destroyed. And for that, you'd see March 24th. I don't have that with me. On this day,
thank God,
in 1847,
March 31st,
for the fourth and final time, Seth Eastman took command of Fort Snelling. And on this day in
what year was that?
1847.
Oh.
And on this day in 1918, Roald Amundsen, the famed Norwegian polar explorer who had discovered the South Pole in 1911, addressed a large audience in Duluth about the ongoing battle of World War I and appealed to the people of the United States, especially American labor, to stand behind the president and to the last ditch and to work with 100% efficiency to end the war. After remarking that Norwegians in this country would be pleased to know after the war that they, too, have had a share in the liberation of mankind, Amundsen continued a speaking tour of Minnesota and later left for Norway to prepare for a North Pole expedition.
How freaked out would you be if you were at the North or the South Pole proper and taking a step in whatever direction, you would be going north, south, east, or west. Wouldn't that be overwhelming?
Not necessarily.
You start walking, you're going on to North America. You walk the other way, you're walking to Russia.
And finally, on this day in 1934.
In theory, couldn't you do that anywhere?
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
In 1934.
I guess it's a little more underwhelming than I thought. Okay.
Finally, on this day in 1934.
34.
A shootout between John Dillinger and the FBI occurred at the Lincoln Court Apartments in St. Paul. They're still there.
Yep.
Lincoln and Lexington.
Yep.
Dillinger escaped, but a few months later was shot to death by FBI agents in Chicago.
They were onto him.
Oh, yeah. Right there at the Lincoln Court Apartments. I believe they're on Lexington, right at Lincoln.
Yeah. Did they? Did he die in a shootout, or did the FBI guys were they just trying to?
No, they ambushed him. What movie was he walking out of?
There you go. Just came out of the theater.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll know it when you say it.
Wizard of Oz.
Tell me who the star was of that movie.
Rock Hudson.
Clark Gable.
I don't know. It was
Picnic.
1930.
Picnic.
1934.
With Victor Mature.
I don't know the movie. It was 1934.
My mom
Kenny
had
doesn't remember either, obviously.
Kenny doesn't know the name either.
Attaboy, Kenny. Way to bring it up.
My mom had her picture taken while Victor Mature was holding her.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good. Thank you, GLers. I think it was a failed experiment.
Kenny doesn't want to leave.
Who was one of the actors that played Philip Marlowe? That guy. What's his name?
Jim.
Oh, God.
Look it up. What movie was Dylan?
Yeah, we can't go until.
Who cares?
No, we got to get this solved. We're not going
Did
anywhere.
we skip
Sit
Patrick
tight.
today?
Oh,
we
shoot.
did.
We forgot all about him. That's all right. Pat, sorry.
I don't want to bother him. He's taking a nap. I completely spaced on that. And he didn't text me. Well, he wouldn't know to text me.
He's leaving the Biograph Theater. I can't find the movie.
Oh, God, you guys. Who cares?
Joe, you're not inquisitive enough. That's the problem.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm not curious.
You just don't care about stuff that matters. That's the problem.
that's
Come
my
on.
problem.
What the hell's wrong with you?
Hey, when's the Final Four in hockey? Next weekend?
I don't know.
You're not going to pull out a sports segment here, are you?
I am.
Wild or hotter than a
I'm gonna
pistol?
Look at something.
Wolves are going to lose.
The Final Four in
Manhattan,
hockey's next weekend.
Manhattan melodrama, and I was wrong. It was Clark Gable and Myrna
Gable,
Loy.
I guessed Clark Gable. See?
Yeah, you were right. I'm sorry.
Wow, way to pull that one out, Johnny.
Also, on the Today in Minnesota History, that Seth Eastman fellow, I knew his name. He was known for his paintings also of Native Americans.
I'll be darned.
The guy who was in charge of Fort Snelling.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's fantastic.
Yeah, you can't make it up.
I would note that, because Pat would note it, that the Mankato hockey coach is moving to Wisconsin, Mike Hastings. He had a hell of a run at Mankato, and now he's going to take over the Badger program. Well, let's hit the road here, folks. Get to the store and get supplies like the
Frankie McDonald.
would tell you. Frankie McDonald.
Like I'm telling you, get to PodMN on your smartphone and check out other podcasts that might entertain and educate you. It's super easy to do. Then you go to GarageLogic.com. You sign up for the Garage Logic Town Council, where you're rewarded with a $10 Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Store gift card. Yes, just go to GarageLogic.com, pay your $10 a month or $100 for a year, and you will be whistling Dixie, if you know what I mean. Finally, head over to, what is that thing called? YouTube. We got a YouTube channel. You can subscribe to it. Garage Logic does. It's a really, really neat thing.
With the exception of 2012, when we opened the garage door on March 16th, we have had a lot of late openers. I thought we were supposed to be in a warming planet.
Bye.
Are you still doing the show?
I guess.
Okay, John.
Were we off the air when I said that?
Well, I haven't stopped recording, so this
It's
is
still
just
on now
end-
if
you
you
can
want to
end
be.
this is
now.
bonus material
Yeah.
for your folks. I mean, really.
Do another segment right
Hey,
now.
Yeah,
people
Monday.
pay for that.
Guess what's coming up next?